Welcome to the Villa Pride Down Under podcast, and Aston Villa podcast brought to you here from Australia. Tonight we're only two of us. Tess is busy, so it's myself and the Welsh wizard Ryno. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good. Father's Day here in Australia, mate. So bit of a busy day with the family.
Yeah, and a lovely gift from the Villa boys as well for Father's Day for us. A nice away win and 3 points in the bag. So happy with that.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you can. That's all you can ask for, guys. For anyone new listening to the podcast here tonight, we're not obviously an Aston Villa podcast here, based in Australia. There's three of us. It's myself, Tess, and Ryno. We're from Ireland, England, and Wales, but we're based in three different parts of Australia. And Ryno's in Melbourne. I'm in Perth, and Tess, who can't be with us tonight, is in Queensland. So, Ryno, we started another away game. We looked at the fixtures in August. We had West Ham away, Arsenal at home, Leicester away. Not the easiest of August to start the season, I would say. We've taken 6-9 points. You could probably say 3 good performances. So, what has been your take in August before we kind of get into the game?
Look, if someone had said to me before those 3 games, you'll have 6 points after it, I would have snapped their hands off for you. Like you say, that's, West Ham away. We haven't got a good record there. Arsenal home, we know Arsenal are going to be top 2 again, most likely. And Leicester away, always a tough game, local derby. So for me, I'm really happy. I know the 2-0 loss to Arsenal sandwiched in the middle there, but again, it was a good performance. So to come out of these 3 games performing reasonably well and with 6 points just before an international break, I couldn't be happier, to be honest with you.
And I'd agree with all that. And there were 3 kind of different fixtures. We kind of had to play a bit different in all 3, I would say, for different reasons as well. We'll obviously the West Ham game, I thought we played excellent in that. We've covered that. Even Arsenal, I think Arsenal probably deserved to win, but on another day we could have won, to be fair, I think. This game was a bit different. This game was like, I don't know, like we were very good at times, but we were dogged at other times. And again, like, I don't want to fast forward too far forward, but I think conceding that goal just gave Leicester a lifeline that I just don't think they had up to that point. I don't think they looked too likely to score, if I'm honest. But
it was funny for me because the first 10 minutes, Leicester were piling the pressure on, and I thought this could be a tough day. They're pressing, we're playing with the ball at the back as we do. They're pressing, a lot of pressure. But once we sort of rode that storm for the first 10 minutes, we started to get our foot in the ball. I thought Tielemans and Onana were brilliant in our first half, then dictating the play. And I thought we were excellent in the first half. It was just the first 10, 15 minutes for me. But once we got into it and we started to play and started to get a bit comfortable, obviously another injury early on sort of disrupted things. We have another reshuffle. But I thought we were good value in that first half, to be honest. Carved out a couple of chances. But and then, like you say, another injury early on in the game, which is, unfortunate, another hamstring. So, another reshuffle. But, and going back to the lineup, actually, Bogard starting at right back. I didn't have that on my bingo card, to be honest with you, mate. I thought Nedeljkovic was a cert to start, to be honest.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. No, Emery did kind of hint at it Friday, but it was just more of a brushing remark. So it's very unusual for him to do that, though, because I thought maybe that's just something he said, because he doesn't usually give away much like that in a press conference that he's planning a big change like that, The lineup was as you would have expected, but bar Bogard, like as you say, you would have thought either Nedeljkovic was nailed on to start right back, or Konsa would have started right back. But I kind of feel he's not wanting to do that this season. Maybe he realizes he doesn't have the centre back options to start moving Konsa out right, maybe. But you're definitely right. I think Leicester came out, as you're going to expect teams to early in the season. No team has been deflated and realised they're in for long fights yet. So every team at home is coming out fighting at the moment. So you're going to get some tough games. But I I thought Leicester were okay. I like they look to have a bit about them, as you'd expect with a Steve Cooper team. Like they're going to be dogged, they're going to be strong, and they have players who can hurt people. But they started strong. But as soon as we kind of grabbed any kind of momentum back, they reclused into a shell, and they stopped trying to do anything. Like I think they kind of came with the game plan is let's get an early goal and shut up shop, because there is going to be at some point the Villa are going to start getting a foot on the game. And I think it was actually Morgan Rogers probably dragged it back into us a little bit. I mean, he didn't have a super game, but his work rate, he was working tirelessly, and he was closing down well, and he won the ball back and slipped Watkins in for a great chance of him.
I think that that Watkins chance, right? I've looked at it again. I think James Justin puts in a really good challenge and knocks Ollie off balance as he's striking the ball. Look, don't get me wrong, he should be finishing it, but I think if you watch it again, James Justin comes across, just nudges him off balance, and he gets his shot off. Brilliant tackle, but it's a shame because that we know Ollie. He's desperate for a goal at the moment, but it'll come for him. We know that. We know he scores in bunches. Once he gets that first one, he'll be all right.
He needs a goal, doesn't he? He does for just his own confidence, because it's kind of, you can see it's already affecting him because he had two big chances.
You could see it on his face, couldn't you? After the chance, he was sort of he'd missed it, and you can just see he's just the confidence is sort of draining from him quite quickly at the minute. So he does need to get off the mark quite quickly.
He doesn't look fit, does he? 100% fit. He's not moving like Ollie Watkins moves, and I suppose you could take the Euros into account and whatnot, and maybe he came back with a little bit of an injury, so he hasn't had a proper preseason. He's getting up to speed, but I think he looks just a little bit off it, and I'm never one to slate Ollie Watkins, because as you just hit on perfectly well, Ollie will score 1 and he'll score 10. That's just how he is. But I'm not going to sit here and just beat the drum for Jhon Duran starting, but what I will say is he's kind of earned it for me now. I think maybe the way to get Ollie's confidence back up is like Ollie is the first choice striker. There's no doubt about that. But is there anything wrong with sticking him on the bench just because he's a confidence player? It doesn't mean that you can't. That he shouldn't know that someone's breathing down his neck either, and maybe it might actually even help him a little bit to come off the bench in one game when people are tiring, and give him that half an hour instead of that 65 minutes, and give him the chance that Jhon Duran's getting there. Like Jhon Duran has looked like he's impacting games, and you might be able to kill two birds with one stone, because if Jhon Duran's now the longer this goes on, he may come a bit disruptive, like demanding a start, and he's probably be right, So he either goes in and nails down a place for himself, or he has a bad performance, and Emery can say, "Well, look, man, I've given you a chance. You're just more of an impact off the bench for me." So I think with the international break, though, I would expect Ollie to still start against Everton personally. But I do think, though, if you're going to be telling someone they're getting chances and stuff, and like Ollie Watkins clearly isn't in form. I know tactically it's probably easier to play with Watkins the way we plays, but give Jhon Duran that chance. Give him a start. Like, why not?
Yeah, and 2 goals so far this season, and brilliant finish, which we'll probably get onto a bit later on. But that, unreal. And he is just like you said. I think Ollie does just look. He just looks off a touch, doesn't he? Even just the link up play, the runs, everything just seems a yard behind, and
he looks frustrated in himself as well.
He does. And whether he's still carrying a niggle, not sure, but he just doesn't look himself at the moment. And it's good we got the options from the bench. We were all a bit worried when we coming into the season whether we would have another striker here at one point, whether Duran was going to stay or not. But he's got his head down. He's scoring goals, and like we said on an earlier pod, if you're scoring goals, the Villa fans will get behind you.
Yeah, and he looks to be like there's training videos of him look like he's enjoying, he's integrating well into the group again, and he's scoring goals, and maybe just give him that start. But Emery know how to manage that situation. He's been there before, and he probably will start Ollie because he's going to want early firing by the time the Champions League comes around, and that's not too far off now. Ollie had a bit of a knock with the keeper in the penalty box, and It turned out to be actually a great little touch from the keeper. I thought it's never a penalty for me, personally. The keeper definitely got a knock on it, and Ollie kind of more ran into him, I would say.
I would agree. I thought because he got a touch to the ball, he got his toe to it. You sort of Ollie's running into him, so I think it would be harsh to give that as a penalty. But that's kind of what he needs at the moment, isn't it? Something like that to go his way, just a little slip.
He probably missed the
little...
penalty the way things are going at the moment. It could be the worst thing that happened to him. But you're right.
I thought you were going to say he'd missed the tap in from 2 yards, then, mate.
I think from that point on, though, we started to get a bit of control in the game. When you touched it off earlier, I just want to say I thought Youri Tielemans was absolutely outstanding throughout the game. That his tactical football IQ is just off the charts, Matt. Like last week's pod you weren't on, I talked a lot about what Declan Rice was doing off the ball, but Youri Tielemans was super today, on and off the ball. Like some of those passes he's making from deep are just so brilliant to watch,
And just the link-up play with Onana as well, isn't it? The two of them sitting in there have just formed a partnership, obviously played at international level together, but just dropping the ball off to each other and just the movement between the two, they just look very comfortable in there. And I agree. I think probably for me, that's probably one of his best performances, even though we didn't really play that well. I just thought his performance overall, he just sort of dominated in there, controlled the tempo. Whenever he needed to get a foot on the ball, he got his foot on it. And then again, an early yellow card again was frustrating. The ref was dishing about. I was a bit worried because, he got one super early in the first half. And I thought,
both of them ran the yellow before halftime, both Tielemans and Onana ran. And I was like, that is not, because I remember actually I was texting Paddy at halftime about the game there. And I said to Paddy, Barkley's going to have to come on at some point, not because the performance is here, but you can't, if you're winning a game, you can't have both your midfielders on the yellow late, because at some point someone's going to have to take a yellow in midfield to win the game.
Yeah, 100%. I was worried as well. And for me, a big change for me was the substitutes of Bailey coming off and then JJ coming on. I think this game, the way the pressure was and how scrappy it was, probably suited JJ more and his ball carrying skills rather than Bailey. And then that meant McGinn moved over to the right-hand side and was over on Bogart's side. And I felt a bit more comfortable that he'd have McGinn there as his backup and sort of, his second defensive man there. And I just think that game, and JJ turned the game, didn't he, as well? He came on and just was busy and just... obviously had a hand in the first goal, and just for me, perfect game for him. Quite a busy game, a lot of pressure, a lot of, but you need people who can ball carry and break the lines. And I just thought that was tailor made for JJ today. And you saw as soon as he came on after about 15 minutes, it started to open up a bit, and you started to see him sort of break free, which is good to see.
Yeah, he's a strong runner on the ball. We asked a question in the podcast at the start. Can we fit JJ and Rodgers into the same team? They look very comfortable together in the team because they complement each other very well. I wasn't so sure if they were going to, but because I thought maybe they're similar styles, but they're a handful for the two of them. You see a lot of saying about Rodgers. But today, he didn't get on the ball as much as he probably would have liked to have made runs. But I thought he was very good. I thought he worked his socks off, and I thought a lot of the good stuff that came for us came from his pressure. So I would take more of a positive from it. The fact is that I thought he actually showed another part of his game. He's not going to be able to make runs like he did against Arsenal all the time. It's just not going to happen because teams are going to sit a bit deeper than Arsenal against us, Arsenal aren't going to sit deep against us, so there's more space, But he showed today that he can mix it with the physicality side of it too, and I take massive positivity from that, that he's actually of use in all aspects of the game to us now,
Mate, with Leicester piled 5 in midfield, there's not much space in there. So it's definitely a different game, isn't it? Like you say, against a team like Arsenal, a bit more free-flowing. But Leicester are just going to, jam everyone in and make it very difficult for you to move the ball. And there was one point in the first half, we were playing out from the back, and I noticed they had Vardy and Ayew pressing very high up, basically on Martinez, and just behind it, another banker three then of their midfielders. But once we broke out, they only had their back three and then Oliver Skip there. So we were, some of the ball playing out from the back again was brilliant, and we were breaking the lines. That first half, like I said, I thought we were very good. Didn't really come out in the second half for me. It's got a half time. Very happy with where we were and where we were playing. But as soon as we came out, it was sort of the same again, where Leicester were applying the pressure pretty much all over us when they start the second half.
In the first half, just before we went to the second half, I just wanted to talk to you about the free kick routine for the first goal. Absolutely brilliant. So simple yet so effective. Absolutely. And you know, I found interesting. They must be seriously working on this with all aspects of the team, because JJ wasn't meant to be on the pitch. He'd only come on like off the bench. So for him to come in and get so in tune with the free kick routine straight away, it shows like the coaching levels that must be going on, that they're allowing for. They must be coaching for all possibilities of who's going to be on the pitch, because JJ is highly involved in that routine, yet he wasn't actually meant to be on the pitch, you know.
Brilliant routine. I nearly skipped past this straight to the second half, but definitely deserves a mention. And Austin McPhee, fair play to him. And just the pass, like, the runners off the ball. Like, I just think how organized we are now with set plays like that, and
genuine weapons for us now.
Yeah, and we've just got, like you say, we've added Onana, like with height, and Tielemans' is passing range, and you got the runners then coming off, like Rodgers, Watkins, JJ. Yeah, we're a real threat. And that the pass through to JJ and the run, and JJ's touch wasn't great, his first touch, but the ball back. Unbelievable, mate. And he's very good at that, isn't he? Cutting the ball back and finding someone in space in the box. And
he got the long leg onto it.
He did. And I feel like we needed a goal at that point, because we were sort of on top. But away from home that the pressure's going to swing, isn't it? You're going to be on top for a bit, but Leicester are going to come back. And it was an important goal for us.
You said there we didn't really come out, didn't get off to a great start in the second half, and I'd have to agree with you there. I thought we were a bit slow, maybe, which was a problem we had massively last year as well, where we were conceding in that first 10, 15 minutes after half time in a lot of games last year. So at least we got through that. The switches came. It was a double switch, was it? Because Jhon Duran came on with... Who came on with Jhon Duran? It wasn't Maatsen, was it? That was a bit later.
No, Maatsen was later. Maatsen was in the 79th minute for JJ again. Nedeljkovic, maybe?
Maybe
he came on.
Bogarde,
possibly? Maybe. Yeah.
So I thought he was. No, Barkley came on, did he? Barkley came on for Onana too, didn't he? Because Onana was in the yellow card.
Yeah. Onana's injured. Yeah.
I thought it was the right call at the right time then, because you could have a midfielder. So it was Duran and Barkley came on. Just before they made that change, though, Onana went on this galloping run down the wing where he was like, it was absolutely brilliant.
What a ball over as well from the end of it too. Yeah. Unbelievable, mate.
Yeah, just he's showing some serious ball playing qualities, isn't he? Like, I think it looks like he's enjoying being in a team where he's seeing a lot of the ball and he's getting the ball on the ground. Like, as I try not to be too disrespectful to Everton every week, but they're just not that, and it's going to show. You'd think with his height that he'd be perfect for Sean Dyche football, but he actually wasn't getting too much of a look in there. But when you see him in the Emery system, he's perfect for it. Like, he gives us a physicality in both boxes, but then he can actually, like, he's very comfortable with the football at his feet as well,
It looks like he's off the leash a little bit as well. I was sort of expecting him to be sort of his role to obviously be shielding the back four, but it looks like he's got a bit of a license to roam and get forward a little bit when needs be. Like, there's no shackles, is there, by the looks of it?
If anything, Tielemans is probably sitting a bit deeper like the last couple of games, but he's spraying the balls. It's great, It's like, I think he's just giving us another option of a big runner, like getting up there with the front men. But that would have been a genius goal, though, because he put in the block and then he just went galloping and he hit it, the hit and run pass. You usually see little 5'10" wingers doing that, like not bloody 6'5". So he went off, and I must be honest. No, I thought Ross Barkley was very good when he came on. He was he was the right style of footballer to come on at that time, because he was someone. The game was gone a bit chaotic by that point. It was all over the place. Neither team could keep the ball. The ball was just bouncing. They were giving it back to each other. It was just springing left, right, and centre. And I thought it was the right call just to bring on Barkley, someone to just put the foot in the ball and slow it down a little bit.
I do too. I thought Ross Barkley was very tidy on the ball, and that's what he gives you, doesn't he? He's a very good technical footballer. And like you say, sort of took the sting out the game a little bit. And I think the sub, I thought Nedeljkovic coming on for Bogard was just at the right time as well, because it just felt like Bogard was sort of running out of steam as well. And it's just perfect timing for the subs. I think he'd done well up until that point, Bogard. I thought for a 20-year-old guy who's just been thrown in at right back away in the Premier League, I thought that was a very tidy debut. Gave the ball away a few times, but look, he's going to learn, isn't he? You know what I mean? 20 years old. And I thought defensively was solid enough. I thought, no issues from me. But again, I think, Emery's just showing his class and just knows when to bring the subs on and who to bring on. And, that squad depth we've been talking about is starting to come through already, isn't it? And I think we're going to need it, obviously, with the games coming up. But Barkley, very tidy. Didn't do anything eye-catching as such, but just did the simple stuff and did it really well, took the sting out the game for us. And at a really important time, again, like you say, Leicester was sort of getting on top a bit, and we hadn't really come out for the second half. And I feel like, we'll talk about the goal in detail. I thought the goal sort of was perfect timing for us, probably against the run of play a bit, and just killed the game, really, didn't it? But we
killed them. I thought that. I thought I think you could see them, like they thought the game was done at that stage.
Yeah.
Leicester, I think you could see the fight was sucked out of them when that goal went in. Let's talk about that goal, because that goal is an absolute brilliant bit of football to watch. It's just, I've watched it over and over a few times today. It's just that. Just before we move on there, so you're telling me Bogard couldn't score 3 own goals today and get sent off, no? Okay, right. Because if you read some of Twitter, honestly, man, I don't want to go into the Twitter, but I like to give a little bit of a Twitter bash every week, because it's absolutely ridiculous what some of these people comment on matches, man.
Yeah.
It is shocking. I know it's all for attention, but honestly, how could anyone have them written off already, man? It's absolutely insane. I remember people done this to JJ too, when JJ played his first couple of games. They were just shot to pieces. Oh, he'll never be this, he'll never be that. Give the boy a chance. He's 20. He probably didn't even know he was playing till Thursday evening.
Imagine the nerves as well. The poor, you know what I mean? Unless there's a tough place to go, isn't it? Away from home, like you say, it's frantic. I'm the same as you, mate. You got to back the boys, and these young guys we're gonna need these guys through the season, because there's gonna be so many games, injuries and stuff. We're gonna need them to step up and play games. So. And fair play to Emery, brave call, chucking him in. Just, when he could have just gone, like we said, Konza or Nedeljkovic at right back, he made a big call, and it's paid off for him.
Bob the bricklayer from Solihull thinks that that no one should have any nerves whatsoever, in a Premier League game. I have nerves starting any new job. It doesn't matter whether you're a bin man or an accountant or a Premier League footballer. So imagine doing it with 40,000 people watching you, knowing that there's at least half of them waiting for you to make a mistake. So give the boy a break. I thought you could see what Emery sees in him. Because he made some brilliant running forward, but look, he lost the ball at times. But give him a break. That's never going to change. So there's no point in us discussing that. But I do genuinely believe that some people watch matches hoping and waiting for a mistake just so they can pick up their phone and jump on Twitter. I'm convinced of it. Who gets the time to tweet all this time during matches anyway? I don't understand it. I don't get this. I'm watching a game. The last thing I'm thinking about is jumping on Twitter to slate the players for a mistake. At least wait till after the game. I don't get it. But that's just me anyway. But the goal, it started with Martinez. He played a little ball to Pau Torres, I think it was. And we just started knocking this ball, and it's just sucking the life out of Leicester. I think actually there was times that Leicester kind of played into our hands, because they did okay with their press, but they pressed us nearly every time with Vardy. And we were getting out nice and tidy. So like in that, particularly towards the end of the first half, we looked like we were going to score goals every time because we were just playing nicely around them. We had their number there for quite a while, like.
Yeah.
But this particular goal, I think it was, I can't even, I'm not even going to go through all the passes, but it was like it started with Martinez and was played through the centre backs, and then it ended up with a brilliant cross goal from Jacob Ramsey, but there was no one to get on the end of it, and I think someone kind of recycled the ball in, and it just turned into.
I think it was McGinn.
Yeah,
McGinn was out there wide, recycled it. Yeah.
But the little give and go between Luca Dean and Morgan Rogers, I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
And made the cross as well was superb, wasn't it?
That's not an easy header, man. That is a step. Nah. He still had a lot to do there, man.
He did have a lot to do, and I just think that cross, like you say, that give and go between Rogers and Luca Dean, and just the ball in was perfect. But that's Jhon Duran for you, though, isn't he? Like he's just a handful. And he swings something in the box like that, he's going to get on the end of it. And like you say, he still had a lot to do and sort of looped it perfectly because the keeper's close to getting it. But that's a brilliant goal. And like we just said, it was the timing of it as well. We'd sort of been under pressure for a long time, and then to produce something like that, sticking to our guns, playing out from the back, like you say, recycling the ball, not panicking. We're not just hoofing the ball in the box now. We're sort of recycling, going back through the phases, waiting for a good opportunity. And, mate, unbelievable goal. And I was laughing, mind. There was one, when I was watching Jhon Duran run off celebrating, there was a Leicester fan, stone-faced. He just went like that to him, put up the hammer sign to Jhon Duran. I was cracking up. I was like, fair play to you, mate. That's good. Yeah. But brilliant goal.
He's got all the talent in the world, doesn't he? He has it all. Like he can do it all, man. If Emery can get him on side tactically and the head in the right place, man, he could be an absolute weapon for us. Like a weapon. He's got power in the legs. He can head the ball. He's strong. He's athletic. He can run. He's starting to learn how to pass. And for the first time ever, I thought he looked a bit disciplined in what he was doing. He wasn't just rushing forward, trying to close down. He kept a bit of shape. It's the first time you didn't see Emery on the sideline going bananas at him, going nuts, because he was disciplined, man. He wasn't just committing to it, and then he took a little yellow late in the game and all to slow their possession down. So I thought it was. I never thought I'd say this about Jhon Duran, but I thought it was a very mature performance, really considering where he's coming from. I think, as we've said before, as a number two, he's absolutely everything you would want for a number two, isn't he? Like a young, brilliant talent, someone who'll fancy himself to take that number one spot. And you can see why Emery was so adamant that he wasn't going unless someone matched his price, because I think Emery knows what he can be,
He's just a handful, though, isn't he? He's already made a difference this season as well. 2 goals already. He's pretty impressive, isn't he? Coming off the bench and getting 2. He is pushing for a start for me as well. And his, cup games coming up. I'd definitely be letting him off the leash in the League Cup myself. Even in league games, there it's like we were talking about. It's hard to keep. You want to keep playing Ollie Watkins and play him into form. But when does that turn to the opposite then when you start playing someone's confidence out of them as well? I guess it's a fine balance, isn't it, of trying to keep, trying to get him back into the goals, but then not destroying his confidence at the same time. But, Ollie Watkins is going to want to start every game. He never looks happy coming off, does he, and being subbed off. And that's what you want from your strikers. You want them playing, you want them being hungry to play every minute. But for me, Jhon Duran is really pushing now, and I'm surprised. I'm not surprised at his talent, but I'm surprised at how well he started the season, given how disrupted the preseason was for him. I was sort of maybe expecting him to be
sheepish, a little bit sheepish, and just
a little bit sheepish.
It's just not in his nature, is it? Like,
no, he's not a shrinking violet, is he, Jhon Duran? He's all out there, and look, long may it continue, because you need competition for places, and we can't just rely on Ollie Watkins for goals. So we need someone else in there, and look, he's doing it. He's doing it at the moment. So and the Villa fans are behind him again.
Yeah, and that's exactly all he needs to do is keep scoring, and people will forget all about his Iron Hammer signing. I think I felt a little bit sorry for JJ getting taken back off because he had played well. I mean, I can completely understand the move though, because before that happened, we done all this hard work. We got back into the game. We're 2-0 up. We were probably in cruise control at that stage. We started playing a bit of football, and it was kind of, I thought at that stage we were going to move on and score a third comfortably, to be honest. And then we just give away an awful goal. And it was an awful goal to give away, I thought. I mean, that's I can't even figure out how it can you kind of break down where it went wrong? Because I thought there was a litany of mistakes in the whole thing, like positionally wise.
Just scrappy was there, and everyone just looked too deep for me. Like I think even Tielemans was in his own 5-yard box, and it's just, I don't know. That's one thing I think we do miss back there when we've got Konza and Pau Torres playing as centre backs. His balls into the box sometimes, I think. That dominant, like a Tyrone Mings, that physical presence who just gets in there and just clears it for us. I think that would have helped in that situation. But yeah, just a comedy of errors, isn't it? We've got to be clear in there. And the ball dropping to someone 5 yards out and just pretty much free hit it's not good enough.
We have it in our locker, those mistakes, don't we? We always look like we can shoot ourselves in the foot. Not being negative, but it is something in our game that is, I'd like to see eradicated, to be honest. But you're right; it's kind of it's a hard thing to remove because it's just so ingrained in us now. Those crosses into the box, we've never been good with dealing with them,
Nah, and like you say, the goal came. What was it? 70 odd minutes, 72 minutes. So. Still plenty of time for Leicester to get back in it then, and it was a bit of a nervy end, wasn't it, with some of the the penalty shouts and the offside, and I was on pins, to be honest, at the end, and and fair play to Vardy, 37 years old, he's still causing issues, still causing trouble, and when the ref gave the penalty, I was just thinking, this is typical us to be 2-0 up and then to concede a penalty in injury time. But luckily for us, he was offside.
Oh, it's madness, man. My heart wasn't ready for that at all. It was madness. Did you remember? I just wanted to give Youri Tielemans a heads up for that unbelievable tackle he made there in the first half. Was it the first half or the second half?
Oh, I can't remember, to be honest, mate.
It was he made a sliding tackle back, and they were going mad because they thought it was a foul, but he was after getting the ball. It must have been the second half. Must have been, yeah. But then when they showed the replay, it was actually an unbelievable tackle. Like he got the foot in and cleared the ball. Yeah, it was a couple of nervy moments here and there, but I would say brilliant 3 points away from home again, and we go into the international break now. It's a pity Ollie got called up for the England team. I think he could do with sticking around the club now. But then he may go off and get an international goal. I hope not, though, because they're playing Ireland. So, is there many others called up at the moment? Is there Onana went off now? Onana went off hobbling as well.
I think Bailey was going to get called up, but I think that's pretty much, that won't happen now either. I haven't heard anything about the injuries or anything yet. I guess we'll hear in the next couple of days. But like you say, I think it's a shame with Watkins because he probably could do with a little bit of time off with the group and probably just get his head down at Villa and just get back to what he was doing. But he's worked so hard. Like in last year, that international recognition is obviously what he wants, and that's what he deserves as well, isn't it? After last season, and like you can't turn down the opportunities. You need to represent your country and try and get some goals. But like you say, maybe it'll work out well for him, and you'll get a couple of goals. But Ireland will still win, mate. So that'll be the ideal, wouldn't it?
I doubt it. We can't win an argument at the moment, mate. The team we have. So. What was the other thing I wanted to touch off there for a minute? Yeah. So the Champions League draw was made. Right now, tasty toys for us. It's been covered in a lot of the other podcasts, so we won't go too deep into it. But I just wanted to get your own opinion on it. When you seen the draw, what were your thoughts?
Just exactly what I wanted, really. You got some of the big hitters, and this new format we've spoken about in a previous pod. I really like it. This is, one of the reasons I like it. You get a good mix of different teams all playing each other. But, like we spoke about, having Bayern Munich, Juventus, Celtic all coming to Villa Park is just a dream come true, isn't it? And I just can't wait to watch those games and just see those teams lined up at Villa Park. And I think it's a perfect group for us, if I'm honest. I don't want to sound too confident, but I think these games in there, we've got the big teams at home, which is where we'd want them. And we've got a few games and a few teams away then that I think, every game's tough, but are winnable. And I think we've got a real chance in that group, to be honest with you, to get through. It's going to be very difficult, and injuries will be the big thing for me, and whether we can keep this squad fit with the amount of games. But it's a perfect group for me. Just mix of the big boys and some great away ties, and one that I think we can get out of.
Yeah, you all we have to do is finish in the top 24. I think it is.
Yep.
You'd fancy us to do that. Yeah, I'd like to think we will. I think we should be getting enough wins out of that group. I'm so tempted to fly back for the Villa Celtic game in January, though, man. It's like
I was going to ask, right? Yeah, I thought that would be a big one.
It's bucket list stuff there, like seeing Villa and Celtic play in the Champions League together. Just the atmosphere is just going to be absolutely unbelievable. Like the amount of Irish Villa fans you have, the amount of Celtic Irish fans you have, so there'll be a lot of people travelling over to Birmingham from Ireland that weekend. Like it'll be some buzz around the place, man. It's the 29th of January, so we'll have to see. Hopefully a nice little accumulator comes in for me in the meantime or something. It is tempting though. I'm not gonna lie. I was dancing around my head today. I was talking to a mate of mine, and he was asking me, did I fancy a trip over from here for it? So I was like, whoa.
I know, and we've waited so long though, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? Like for us, it's our first Champions League, experience with Villa. So it's, I was thinking the same. I was talking to my brother back home. I think he's just got tickets for Everton the next game. And I was sort of saying to him, are you trying to get Champions League ones? And he is. He's trying to get in there. It'll be difficult. But I was like, you've got to make the most of it, haven't you? If you get a chance to go to a Bayern Munich or Juventus or Celtic at Villa Park, I mean, that doesn't come around. That hasn't come around often for us, and who knows what happens. Hopefully it does come around a bit more often this time, but I'd love to get back for one, but at the moment it's a bit of a hard sell with a family.
I know. I done it in May there and spent a fortune like going back for the Villa Liverpool game, but I'm kind of tired. It's only 2 months after my wedding as well, so I'm kind of like think about giving myself a wedding present.
Honeymoon in Birmingham, yeah.
Honeymoon in Birmingham, but of the 8 games for me, for my reasons would be if anyone asked me which of the 8 Champions League games I'd most like to attend to, it would without doubt be the Villa Celtic for me, and I think it's also the 8th game, so there might be a lot riding on that game too. So
there you go.
Might be an important game. But even looking at it, and I don't want to sound too confident here, but we're playing Bayern Munich at home, a second game in, I wouldn't be shocked to see us get a draw against Bayern Munich. I genuinely wouldn't. And the only reason I'd say that is because Unai Emery is a more experienced coach than Vincent Kompany.
Yep.
And that's and Emery has done it with Villarreal before, where he's beaten in recent times. Like he knocked Bayern Munich out of the Champions League with a home win in Villarreal and a draw in Munich. So he's got record. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because we could lose 8-0 too. But it's just I just look at those draws and. There's obviously the superpowers of Real Madrid and all that, but if you were to pick one of the superpowers that you might fancy getting a result off, because they do drop points in German lately, and the German league and the Bundesliga. So, I just think it's a nice draw. Juventus aren't a massive powerhouse. They were. Dougie Luiz obviously coming back for another visit nice and early, so he'll be he'll be looking forward to that.
I wonder if Illing Jr. will be able to play, because we got Bologna as well, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I don't think that rule is a rule in UEFA competition that you can't play against your own, because I remember Philip Coutinho scored for Bayern Munich against Barcelona on launcher.
Yeah, that's right.
So it mustn't be a rule, like, because I heard one of the other podcasts talking about it that he won't be allowed to play, and I was thinking, I think he will, because if Coutinho can play a semi-final, then Illing Jr. can surely play a group.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, so no, it's a good draw. But some of these teams, like Bologna, like yourselves now, like, is probably going to be a new adventure for them, and I think they've lost quite a few of their big players since they signed. But the likes of young boys of Switzerland, like young boys of Bern, they're not big powerhouses, but they're seasoned campaigners in Europe. Like these lads go out playing European competition year in, year out, like whether that be the Champions League or the Europa League, So they're not difficult, or they're not easy ties, None of the ties in there are a walkover. Leipzig away, difficult tie, I think.
Yeah, I know we've been tripped up before in Europe, haven't we, in the past? Away ties and lost games, even in cup competitions, domestic cup competitions. You never rule out the smaller teams. So yeah, it's gonna be a really exciting few months, though, isn't it? Getting into the Champions League games, then trying to balance league games and cup competitions at the same time. And yeah, I'm just hoping a few of the injuries you picked up against Leicester minor compared to, obviously Matty Cash is going to miss a month. Bailey with a hamstring is a bit of a worry, though. Onana didn't seem too bad when he came off, but yeah, if you're missing 2 already with hammies, it's not great.
I am with Bailey. I don't think he looked too distressed coming off. I think he's definitely done his hamstring, but it's not like he was completely written off, because you just wonder, did they just make the call, right? It's international break. Let's come off. There's no point in taking a chance here. You get a good chance to rest it. That's what I'd be hoping, because those real bad hamstrings, like they look in complete agony. So, the ones that require a bit of surgery or whatever, they're like grade 3 tears, the serious ones. It just didn't look that major to me. It's a pity, because I worried when Bailey first started signing that he would be an injury-prone player, but he hasn't been that for a long time now. So, that's the problem with fast players like that, though, isn't it? Their hamstrings are always susceptible to hamstring injuries. It's funny too, like, because the 2 lads that got hamstring injuries, neither of them played in the Euros either. Like, they both had a rest. Like Cash and Bailey, they both had rest over the summer. So it just goes to show it's not necessarily down to being overloaded with game time or anything,
And I think Jadon Philogene had a knock in the week, didn't he? I don't think he was even on the bench today. So that
I hadn't heard anything about that until the lineup, which was...
Yeah, same. I hadn't heard anything, and I was sort of reading about it, and it's a shame because, you probably would have got some minutes, I would have thought, at some point. But hopefully he's not too bad either. I don't think, from what I've read, it is that bad. It's just a bit of a knock. But a couple of weeks now, isn't it, until the next game, which is Everton home,
Everton at home Everton at home, correct? Yeah, it's a 5:30 kickoff at home again. So we've 3 of our 5 games have been 5:30 on a Saturday. So I think for fans in Villa Park, it's perfect time.
Yeah, it's a big game for you as well, Spud, with obviously the family connections to Everton, mate. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's kind of always one of the ties I look out for, obviously, with my father as before he passed away, obviously a big Evertonian, so it's always a tie I look forward to. Well, bittersweet tie, It's it's a tie that I've probably been glued to since a very, very young age, you know what I mean? Yeah, so Everton's a club I have a huge respect for, to be honest, and it's sad to see them where they are at the moment, because they're very bad. They're not good at all. Like you remember this, mate. Like you remember, like they remind me very much of that Villa team that got relegated, where we had a couple of years where we just about survived.
Circled the drain for a bit, didn't we? And just sort of held on.
But when we went down, we plummeted. Like what we went down. Plus, I just hope that doesn't happen to Everton, because.
Yeah, with their being 2-0 up as well, and just capitulation.
We've been there, like, you know, like we know how
Yeah.
it feels. Like, you remember 2016, we were 2-0 up against Leicester, and Leicester came back and beat us 3-2 in October, and the trajectory the two clubs went on that year, like, was crazy. We ended up getting relegated. They ended up winning the league, and we were cruising
Yeah.
up to nil. So, you know, a result like that can kill you. Like we
Oh,
never
yeah. Kills.
recovered after that Leicester game, and I think that's going to be the problem with Everton. Win a game like that, it can make your season, but poor side though, and I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but they're not a good footballing side, and I just don't see him. I said to you lads at the start of the summer, I'd expect David Moyes to be in there by the end of October, and like I still think that's more and more of a possibility now. Like, you know.
I think it's a very good shout, to be honest with you, mate, especially after last night when they, thrown away a 2-0 lead. I think the pressure's on him now, isn't it, Jhon Duran?
Yeah.
I hope they hang on to him until after the international break. And then, because, it's like new manager comes in, they'll have a bounce and probably beat Villa. But nah.
The game of their life, yeah. I hope they do hang on to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's sacked over the international break. It's almost like the perfect time to get rid of a manager and bring a new manager in. You'd have to wonder, would it be a toss-up between Graham Potter and David Moyes? But I would imagine David Moyes would probably be the one to take it, because it'd be a favourable move with the fans. I think he's still quite liked there, even though some of them weren't really happy with him moving to United, but I think a lot of them understood you don't turn down that United job after Ferguson. So, and David Moyes, like, I think he has a bit of an unfair reputation of this guy who just dogfights. Like, David Moyes' team can play some good football when they need to. They played some brilliant football at West Ham in that run to the Conference League. So that's the one I would see. That's what I see happening. I think David Moyes comes in and replaces John Dyche. If it's not over the international break, it won't be for long after. Like, I just they have to act now, mate, because they're going to a new stadium next year. They can't be in the Championship. Like, they just can't. Yeah. Obviously, this isn't an Everton pod, but I think Everton are just one of those clubs that, like Villa, you don't want to ever see them in the lower, in the Division 1 or anything, because they're a staple of the Premier League, and we've lost enough staples over the years, the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, Coventry, Leeds, and Nottingham Forest for a long time as well, So yeah, I hope they stay up, but honestly, the way things are going, I don't think they're going to.
I can't see it either. I think some of the teams that have come up, just a side note on some of those guys as well, I just caught Ipswich, a bit of their game. I think some of these teams coming up are actually playing some good stuff, and it's going to be a really interesting season down there.
They're a lot better than what came up last year. Like, the teams that come up this year are going to offer much more than what the others did last year.
I think so too. I think tactically, and I think the way they're going about it with a lot more probably younger, talented players is probably the way a lot of them are going. I think it's probably a smart way of going about it as well. And from what I've seen, some of these teams are going to be playing Ipswich away. I know we've got them coming up away, and I think that's going to be a tough tie down there. I think, old school ground and a young team and a lot of talent in there. So, yeah, looking forward to those guys and watching some of the teams that have come up this season.
Yeah, it's just a quick word before we go as well right now. That Haaland is an absolute machine, isn't he? Just it's scary how good a finisher he is. Like, it's unbelievable.
Mate, and I've got him in my fantasy team. I haven't put a captain on him once, and he's got 2 hat-tricks already. Jeez.
I took the captaincy off him this week.
Oh.
Made Luis Diaz the captain, because I thought Liverpool would give United a good stiffing over tonight. So that was a bad, because I just thought, what, West Ham looked decent. No, they might scrap and draw down against City, but no, I was wrong. Yeah.
But going back to your point, though, mate, he has started the season on fire, and we're watching. I think we've got to appreciate we're watching one of the best to do it, aren't we? Really, I've never seen a striker like him. He's just got everything.
The last I can remember as one of the strikers I probably fell in love with most, but I just caught him at the end of his career, and that was Marco van Basten. Just when I loved Van Basten as a kid, for AC Milan, because I told you, me and my dad, we had a big really shared a big shared love of AC Milan, and Van Basten was that kind of big, strong machine as well, like him. But I was just catching him towards the end because he got a really bad injury. He's just, I don't think our generation, like, I mean, Ronaldo and Messi are very different type of players, like, but as just a pure finisher, like, I don't think we've seen anyone in the Premier League, have we? Really?
No, I don't think so. A player of this, yeah. Like, and we knew he was good before he came to the Premier League. There's always going to be question marks on how would he go in the Premier League. A bit of a tougher league, a bit more physical, but no problems for him, mate. He's just, and he sort of dipped in form towards the end of last season, and obviously people throwing a bit of shade at him, but he's come back this season, and he's looking dangerous. And so are Man City, though, aren't they? And them, anyway, we'll get to them when we get to them.
You could see how disappointed Arsenal were to drop points against Brighton already, because they seem to know that's it, right? You can't, 3 games in and we're chasing our tail already, It's they're a phenomenal team, but like if it is Pep's last year, I think he'll be going all out for that Champions League. So maybe he starts once the Champions League kicks off, maybe the focus shifts and they won't be just absolutely destroying everybody. But no, they're a serious team, and you can kind of understand why Alvarez has decided to move on, isn't he? Like, he's just not going to get in there ever, is he? Like, Ryno, we'll probably wrap it up there, mate. We just wanted to jump on and have a chat about the game, and I won't go into names, but next weekend, obviously an international weekend, and we are currently trying to tee up a guest, so hopefully that goes ahead next weekend. So we'll definitely be on even for the long weekend. But was there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone who is listening, getting involved on the socials, and we really appreciate it. If you can like, subscribe, all the usual stuff that we ask, it really helps us out and sort of helps push the pod out into a wider audience. I'm starting to see a bit of interaction between people on Twitter, Facebook, on the different groups. But yeah, if you could just give us a shout out, the likes, the subscribes, we'd really appreciate it. You can get me on Twitter at Ryno_Watkins. Our Villa Pride Down Under is at Villa Pride Down Under, and we've got at Pride Down Under on Twitter as well. Then,
yeah, super, lads. And just to reiterate what Ryno said, look, we're getting a lot of interaction and comments on the YouTube videos and stuff, and a lot more likes and interactions, and so yeah, we appreciate all that. If you want to get in touch with me at AVFC Spud, and obviously if any of you want to hear from Tess, who's not here tonight, it's at Cuban_night. We're going to wrap it up there. It's been a really good start to August. I think we're heading into September now, when Champions League, Aston Villa finally start to get their campaign under the way, and just to take that 6 points from 9, I think there's not too many people would complain about that, but there will be loads of people complaining about that as well. We could get 12 from 9 and someone would still complain. But right, guys, we're going to wrap it at that, and we'll speak to you again next week. So up the Villa.
Up the Villa.